Welcome to Joanna the Medium Show, broadcast on Ever Beyond Radio and through the Wolf Spirit Media Network, helping you transform from fear to freedom and reminding you of your true power. During this broadcast, we will discuss anything and everything connecting to owning your inner power and the essence of your spirit. We will hear inspiring stories from guests, as well as guidance from the spirit world. Jump on board for this incredible ride. Here's your host, Joanna.
Hello everybody, welcome back to a special show tonight. And tonight's show is actually going to be very, very exciting because I have another special dear friend of mine whose name is Tien. And tonight, Tien and I will talk about the idea of manifesting, the whole idea of law of attraction and the state of being that is crucial and most important in order to create abundance. And of course, we all want abundance, but a lot of the time we don't know how to go about it. So let me tell you a little bit about Tien. First of all, you can find Tien at tienneoemas.com. That's tienneoeamas.com. I get a little bit confused with my letters. So a little bit about Tien. Well, Tien is a modern day wizard, and I guess you don't hear that very often, do you, these days? He's also an artist. He's a coach, gold and silversmith. He's an alchemist, performer, and an inspirational speaker. You can find Tien live on Facebook as he hosts Wizard Wednesdays every single Wednesday, where he provides guidance and coaching to those who tune in. As a goldsmith and silversmith of 20 years, Tien builds beautiful, unique pieces of power and beauty, sacred ceremony and symbolism in silver, gold, and precious gemstones. When you tune into his page, his Facebook page, he often shows off his beautiful work, and it's truly amazing pieces. They're very, very unique. They're very bold. They're very contemporary, just beautiful pieces. Now, Tien has a Bachelor of Fine Arts, Fine and Performing Arts from Simon Fraser University. He also has interior design and classical feng shui certificates. Tien was born in Singapore in 1968. He was actually born as a female into a mixed race and class, fundamentalist Christian family. His childhood was filled with fear, pain, abuse, unhappiness, and confusion. Moving to Canada in 1987 brought more years of struggles with family, immigration, finances, self-esteem, and gender challenges. Tien was the first Asian trans man to publicly transition in the Vancouver gay and lesbian community in 2001. So you can see that he's an amazing individual, full of wisdom through his extraordinary path. So at some point during the show, we will take a few callers. If you have any questions regarding our subjects tonight, or if you are struggling with your own identity or know someone who is, consider giving us a call. And without further ado, welcome my beautiful friend Tien. How are you?
Hello, gorgeous.
Hello.
I am so well. So happy to be with you here tonight.
Thank you so much for being here. I just have to say, guys, I love this guy with all my heart. He's one of those rare individuals that you just, well, me at least, that I just, he's just so dear to my heart. I know we have a past life connection at some point, but he's just one of those people that feels just like a family, but me being Polish, him being from Southeast Asia, probably the furthest place apart that we could be. So Tien, I spoke a little bit about you, a little about about your journey, and your journey has been a colorful one to say the least. And I did mention that you were born as a female, and I know you're very open about this. That's actually part of the beauty about you, that you're very open about who you truly are and who you want to be. So tell us a little bit about what it was like for you when you first started to feel different than what you had in a body, if I can call it that way. Or when did you first become aware?
Thank you. That's always such a little bit of a curious question, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
here's the deal. It's 2017. Trans is now the new gay. Gay is so last century. And, everybody's transitioning left, right, and center. You even have the awesome Wachowski brothers who now both have transitioned.
Right. Right.
You know, at some point we'll probably have a trans, Senate or a trans prime minister or president, and it's all good. So we're evolving as humans. It's a very exciting time. So when you ask me at what point, I knew that there was something kind of, off. Here's the deal. I was born who I was. And,
Perfect.
and I never had an issue with who I was.
Yes.
Here's the thing. We live in a world, where we have made our body parts mean something. And for me, this is one of my most passionate areas of conversation and exploration, because we are at a point where we can finally explore gender, the final frontier. That's what I like to call the seminar. Gender, the final frontier, where human beings believe that we are our gender. And because we believe that we are our gender, everything else is not possible. And consider that living in your identity of gender, the gender that you mark in your box at the hospital or at whatever forms, is completely constricting, and that people have absolutely no idea who you truly are as an amazing, powerful soul, as long as we think that we are our gender. So once again, we come back to that question. I was born who I was, and I was perfectly fine until the world decided that I was female. And it meant a certain thing. And it meant being female meant I could do this and I couldn't do that. And that was when it started getting weird, because it was like, well, why do I have to stop doing anything that I want to do?
Right.
And it was a fun journey going through all my rebelliousness, with my fundamentalist, upper class Chinese mother who really, 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 really wanted a daughter, who was in the middle of her two sons, and, in a Christian family. And it was, very, now in hindsight, extremely entertaining, and will make a really awesome movie someday. I'm still, casting who the lead will be to play me, so stay tuned. I was fine. I was fine. I managed, and I accepted that I was female at some point. I stopped fighting it. And then when I came to Canada, I found a place where I could express myself as female in a whole range of expressions. And so at that point, I became a lesbian, because at that point, lesbian was, what was going on then. And then about 8 years of doing that, I was like, yeah, maybe not so much. I'm not really a woman,
Right.
And definition of lesbian means you're female. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not that. And then at some point it just got clear. And it actually was really, really simple. I was walking up a street one day, and I walked by this bus stop. I have no idea why I mentioned bus stop, but that was what happened. And I suddenly took one step, and I felt like I just died in that moment. And in that moment I went, oh my God, I'm entering a whole new phase that I have no idea what's coming. And it was a little bit like a premonition. It was like, Tien, something's coming. You are not who you think you are. And a couple of years later I transitioned, and it was a really simple process for me, because it just got clear. I was like, okay, let's go do that. Let's go do it. Because, I've lived the female identity as much as I can, and I've done it all, and that's so much more. And as long as we lived in a gendered world, I couldn't do anything else.
Right. You were in a box. Yeah.
Yeah. So it made sense for me to transition, change box, right?
Yeah.
Done with this box, let's go to the other box and do that. And now I've lived as male for 16 years and, or 15 years or something. And, of course, very clear, it's also a box. And so now I'm starting to really embrace, I also do identify as bigendered, which means that I then get to play around with different expressions of gender, because at the end
Best
of
of
it,
both worlds.
there you go, right? And
Yeah.
it's such an amazing time. It's such an amazing time because there's so many varieties of genders nowadays. And I'm proud to be a pioneer in a movement that's really taking off.
And you truly are a pioneer and visionary. And those of you, you guys don't know Tien, but one of the things when I met Tien a few years ago, one of the things that drew me to him instantly was, first of all, his energy. He has this amazing energy that spreads all across the room. And even though physically he's not a big person, I'm bigger than him. And I think you're okay, Tien, with saying that. He is so large, and he fascinated me from the very beginning because he has such a no bullshit attitude. Like, he'll tell you how it is, which is so refreshing when someone doesn't beat around the bush and just says, hey, if this is what you want, just do this. What's your problem? But he does it in a way that is very kind and in a way that is very empowering, but he will not beat around the bush, which is what I truly admire, because the last thing you want is people kind of dance around the issue and nothing really gets done. So from that point on, I thought, wow, this is a really unique individual. And I don't know, for some reason it just kind of, you clicked for me, because I often struggled with my own stuff and where I fit in the world, not necessarily in a sexual way, although I think I had some of that early on in my life, but just as a human being because of my own conditioning. So maybe it was that unspoken thing that kind of drew me to you, and we had that kind of quiet understanding, but you truly are a pioneer and visionary, and you may no excuses about it, and that's what I love about you. One of the things we talk about when you and I talk about, we often talk about, well, empowerment, number one, because you empower people, but you have to come through your own struggles in order to have an understanding of it, right? So you're also a coach. Tell me a little bit about what kinds of things people come to you for coaching, because you have a very unique way of looking at things, which is very, very different.
I coach people through anything, and I will boldly declare that I can coach people through anything. Doesn't matter what it is, whether you're dealing with health issues or your gender issues or money issues or, your success issues, any of that. Or your abuse issues or violence or anything like that, I can definitely coach someone through, because at the end of it, there's only two places that we feel, two emotions that we feel. Yes. And one of them feels good. One of them feels not so good. And
Pretty simple, right? Yeah.
It's so simple. And we as spirit beings in our gorgeous bodies that we chose to come and inhabit, even if most of us hate it, we came down to experience life and be able to enjoy this delicious, crazy ride called life. And enjoy means feel good. And most of the times we drag our asses through life and we don't feel good. So as a result, you are disempowered. You have loss of freedom. You don't speak your truth. You don't enjoy life and all of that, right? So, by shifting one's context to create new contexts so that one can really see that life really is this awesome, entertaining journey, you start to shift your way of being at any moment. And when you are able to
it's really
powerfully
about,
choose
you and I spoke about
a
this,
new
it's really
way of
about
being
a choice,
at any
isn't it?
moment.
It's really about making a conscious choice.
Continue.
Right. Which brings me to what we talked about earlier was the Phoenix Rising. Tell us about what happened in 2009.
We seem to be losing contact. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we've had issues all night. Sorry about this. You should both be coming into real time just now.
Hello?
Yep, I'm here.
You're here. Okay. Tell us about what happened, the Phoenix Rising. Tell us about what happened in 2009 for you. Why it was such a profound year for you.
2009 was one of my most memorable and awesome Phoenix risings. I was in a very, disempowered space at that point. So at that point, I had been living as male for about 8 years and really hating my life, because the moment I chose to transition meant now I had to live as male. And given that the unspoken rule of what male is based on genitalia.
Yeah.
And that's what the world has made up, right? Get that context. The gender of male is based on some meat that hangs between somebody's body.
That's how Tien and I talk, by the way.
It really, really is. The gender
So
of
refreshing.
female is created. Yeah, gender of female, same thing. Gender of female is created because the little baby came out with a certain kind of meat between its legs. And now you just said, oh, that's a male, or oh, that's a female. And forever you will go through life as either male or female. Why? Because of these little bits of flesh that hang between your legs. And talk about being archaic, right? You have now completely constricted. So I was now in a male identity, and my body didn't quite match what the world said male was. So there was a lot of self-hatred. I was hating my body so much. I hated myself so much, because now I didn't fit. And I was going through a lot of financial, troubles. My girlfriend had just broken with me because I just wasn't man enough. And, I was losing a lot of my money. My clients were, behaving a certain way that didn't work with me, and I was completely over my head, and I was hating and hating and hating myself. And so, of course, that's why everything was not working out, right? Because who I was being was unhappy. I was just in a not good feeling place for 90% of the day. I was not feeling good. So I just went steadily downhill. And, one night I was completely at a loss, and I attempted suicide, and I had the suicide hotline on one side. My friend had called them for me, and I had another friend and my friend on the other side. And so they were able to coach me through it, and I'm grateful. And so I made it through the night. And, it was a very, very devastatingly, painful emotionally and physically evening. But I made it through the night. And so the next morning I woke up, and I was like, okay, fine, Tien, you're still here. You didn't die. So, and I had a moment, and I said, so what do you want to do? And I said, okay, I'm alive. Fine. So here's the deal, Tien. And at that moment I made a pact with myself, which is really my motto and the daily pact that I make with myself every day. And I said, Tien, it's fine. If you hate your life so much, it's okay. Go home to your maker. It's okay. You're off the hook. No morals, no ethics around this. Just go home. At any point, you can go home. So, since you're gonna be here for another, 50, 60 more, 80 more years, promise me, just have a really, really good time. Please, just have fun. And in that moment, I chose. I said, okay, I'm gonna have a good time. I'm just gonna have fun. I'm gonna listen to what makes me happy. And like the old saying says, I'm just gonna follow my bliss. And my life completely altered from that moment. I, sold my $500,000 dream loft. I quit the chapter, a business group that I was leading as the president. I packed up everything, and I moved into a teeny tiny little fishing village with only 100 residents, and went to live in a little trailer for 2 years. And I had to start from nothing because I had no more money. And because I chose that gave me freedom. And from that place of freedom, which is a good feeling place,
Right.
I let go. I let go completely of how I thought my life should go, because working so hard for it to go a certain way. I was working so hard to pay off my mortgage and to make a certain amount of money, and I had all these goals and visions that I was going to be some big shot feng shui interior designer, and I was, getting some TV proposals going on at the same time, and I was just working in that direction that was such a battle to make happen. It was just so challenging because I was having such a horrible life, hating myself as well. So once I let all of that go and I said, okay, fine, I'm just going to be happy, do really simple things. It's all good. Then I chose to just do something really simple and be happy. And things just started to unfold. Once I let go of all of that, things just started to come because now there was no more resistance with all the fear and upset and anger and self-hatred.
So essentially what you're saying is that you've let go of expectations. Is that what you're saying?
Very good. Yeah, that's an awesome way of fine-tuning that detailed part of the manifestation trick.
Mm-hmm.
The expectations have to go.
Which brings us to the whole idea, this dovetails to the whole idea of manifesting, law of attraction, and all the stuff that we say we want to do, and we think this and we think that, and it just falls flat in its face. Because in my perspective, from what I experience and also what I hear you say, is we are so attached to the outcomes that there is so little room for the universe to maneuver that we get stuck. And then we don't end up getting much of anything. So let's talk a little bit about the whole concept of letting go of expectations. Because what you did, at one point, you consciously decided to feel something different. And I feel, and I see this with my clients, a lot of us want to feel different, but we consciously choose to stay feeling shitty.
Yeah.
Right? And it seems so simple to choose feeling different, yet there is this pull to staying feeling shitty. And isn't it interesting, whatever that mechanism is, probably it's because familiar. What do you think that is?
Habit.
Yeah.
We all develop really bad habits. We come out into the world happy as hell. La, 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 right? Happy, no problem. We trust everybody, like, look at things. We listen to our hearts. We're like, yeah, no, I don't want to talk to that person, all of that. And then over time, we pick up a cultural energy. We're not talking culture in terms of race or ethnicity.
Right.
Just like what's around us, that's your culture. You pick up the cultural way of being, and then it just becomes habit. So most people are brought into the world, and we're all happy, and then we start to learn to be fearful. We start to learn to have scarcity issues. We start to think that it's really, really important to strive and work really, really hard and be stressed out. It's part of the cultural conversation. For example, here in North America, busy is such a popular word. Yes? Busy is an energy of franticness, and it's not easy going. It's not fun. It's not a joyful fun little boat ride down the peaceful river. It's like an intense crashing ride on your raft.
Right.
And that's the image and the energy of busy. But it's such a common, popular word that people use. So as a result, people use it all the time. People talk about it all the time. Now it becomes culturally normal. Well, look at everybody around us. They're busy as hell. Right. Even people who are not up to doing anything very much, they're busy as hell. On their phones, posting stupid things, and social media, looking at dumb things, and so busy doing that.
Right. It's so true. It's almost like there should be an Emmy award for being the busiest person.
Oh, you tell me about it. People love it. We live in cultures that love the martyr.
That's true.
Right? They love people.
Oh my God, I'm so busy. Yeah. And you've caught me, and I'm going to be very honest about that. Tien has caught me a couple of months ago. He says, Joanna, you might want to think about saying this instead of that. I'm like, oops. But that was such an aha moment for me. It was like, oh my God, he's right. I'm just yammering the same thing over and over again. And I'm stuck with it or in it because I keep putting energy to it. And like I said, Tien is not a bullshit person. He'll tell you like it is in a very loving way, but it's going to be pretty straightforward. And that's the whole thing about manifesting is, right? When we're stuck in a rut, we cannot get out of it and go manifest. So the whole idea about people wanting this and people wanting that, and I want a car and I want this. But for many people, they say it doesn't work for them. So you touched on the idea of letting go of expectations. And now I understand being around you what that means, because I've kind of dabbled with it so I can have an idea. But let's help people understand, what does that really mean? What does it mean to let go of expectations? What does it feel like?
Letting go is really a feeling of kind of like, it's a little bit of resignation. It's a little bit of acceptance. It's a little bit of like, just, and I like to play with this, right? Cause I'm a little bit of a drama queen. So I'll be like, okay, fine. That's what it feels like. Fine. You're not going to give me that fine. Whatever.
I'm gonna stop begging.
Yeah, exactly. Fine. Okay. You're going to make my life suck. Fine. There's this playfulness about letting go as well that you got to get to, right? So letting go really, describe to people. People will be like, it's so hard to let go. Well, when you say it's time to put that Kleenex in the garbage, do you say, it's so hard to let go of this naughty Kleenex. I just don't know how to let it go. You just open your hand and you drop it in. That's all
Right.
it is. So when you let go of expectations, it's just that. And it's a practice. It's a practice to say, and it's a practice of faith.
It is, isn't it?
It is absolutely faith. And I have one of my cards in my guidance card decks, right? You know them well.
Yes.
I create my own guidance card decks for people who have never met me before. And in my elemental court deck, I work with the elements. So I love working with the elements and all sorts of different magics. And the water element is a great element for the teaching of letting go. So this is a great practice for everybody in letting go of your expectations. So if you look at life as a boat ride down a river, and you really want to get a good bang for your buck, right? You paid $10 million for this awesome boat ride.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to experience the journey of this river. And so what do you have to do to really fully enjoy the ups and downs, a little bit of crashing, a little bit of stops, a little bit of, going under a little bit and coming back out? What you got to do is really trust that all is okay. Right. You got to know that the boat is just going to take you on this fantastic river ride. And you let go of the oars. And you stop trying so hard to drive the boat in that direction.
Because oftentimes what I've experienced, and I think you and I talked about this, and you know this about me, with the many bitch sessions that I had with you, we have a vision in a certain way, but we're not necessarily aware that the universe has a whole different idea of how it's going to be delivered. So we are stuck on a certain way of getting something, and the very stuckness on it creates difficulty for the universe, if you will, to deliver it in a different way, because we're creating resistance.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that it's almost like it stops the whole process, or certainly slows it down. And like you said many times, we stand in our own way. We stand our own way. So
all the time.
All the time. So earlier, you and I talked about a couple of things. We'll get into what it means to be a modern day wizard. And by the way, Tien creates amazing, amazing spell. Would you call them spell? They're not spell kits. Spells. They're spells.
Yes, spell. Yep.
I had two. I have two. I've used two, and I've noticed an incredible difference. So if you want to go to his website, it's actually quite amazing. But, one of the things we talked about earlier is you said to me, I'm being very aware at every moment, or I'm being very mindful at every moment, or I'm being very in tune, whatever the words you use. And I said to you that I've only experienced that on a couple of occasions in my life. And when I've experienced it, I went, holy cow, I am missing a lot. Because it's a lot of us, I don't think, know how to be in a moment. How do we get to be in the moment? Because we're all about doing, and it's really about being, isn't it?
Yes. Well, being in the moment, being present. It takes practice if we have stopped doing that, especially now in this time and age where there's so many distractions, with our phones. We stop being present. And, being present simply means being with whatever is right there in front of you. So we can actually just practice doing this, right? I took a course once where it was in the practice where it was like, okay, on our break, everybody's going to find something, and I don't care what it is. It could be a tree, it could be a bowl, it could be a chair, it could be a mouse, it could be whatever, right? It could be a twig, whatever. Go and sit with this thing for half an hour. Just be with it, which means do not think anything about it. You gotta really check your thoughts. This is a very fundamentalist Buddhist practice. You just be. No thinking. So you just breathe in, breathe out, look at it. Breathe in, breathe out, look at it. That's all it is. And you'll notice your thoughts will go crazy.
Yep.
But that's the start of practicing how to be. And therefore what meditation, true Zen meditation, is about breathing in, breathing out, and noticing your thoughts. So you practice breathing in and focusing on your breath as it breathes out, and then you breathe in, and then every time a thought comes in, you just acknowledge thought. You don't judge it, you don't try and think about it, do anything. Yeah. And at some point you'll probably trail off, and you'll be thinking, and then be like, oh yeah, right. And then you pull yourself back and you get present, which is breathe in, breathe out. And then you just say, oh, thought, okay, done. And that's what being present is.
And, when you said, be with it and just truly be with it, I almost said that's hard, but then I stopped myself because I thought, no, because I'll just be perpetuating that energy that always is.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting that I caught myself before I thought it, but I caught myself before saying it.
Oh,
at the same time, to become aware of just how crazy our thoughts are. Yeah. We actually have no awareness, or most of us don't have the awareness of just how much stuff is in our head at every single moment.
Yeah. People live like their thoughts is the reality. It's just a thought. It's not reality. It's just a thought. Reality is what's out there.
Right.
That you can touch and feel. That's why when you practice being with something, you become more aware of what's going on because you're not in your thoughts so much.
Right. Which brings me to a great question that somebody just posted. And the question comes from Just Me Be. And the question is, how do I get out of my own way long enough to let go? That's a great question. How do I get out of my own way long enough to let go?
Well, I'm curious why you say long enough. So there's a constraint there that is made up as a definition that it's somewhere to get to. Right? Let's just get philosophical about this. So there is nowhere to get to. It's to simply be now. Which means, how do you get out of your own way? Getting out of your own way is a very kind of loose thing. I don't really understand what that means, but I understand it conceptually, but I can't really describe what it means. How I feel like getting out of your own way so that what?
How do I get on long enough to let go?
To let go. Well, you don't get out of your own way to let go. You just gotta be willing to let go.
Okay. Interesting.
So, here's an example, right? Just like Joanna, you gave that example. You were like, blah, 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 bitch, blah, 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 right? And I said, just stop it.
Yeah.
And then you choose. You stop it. That's how you let go. You stop talking about it. I say this to my followers on my Wizard Wednesdays all the time. Just stop talking about it, stop thinking about it, stop blogging about it, stop Facebooking about it, stop posting stupid little things all about it, stop telling the world all about it. And that's how you practice letting go. So let's say you are pissed off at somebody right now because they cut you off, or they stole your money, or someone, whatever, right? And fine. Be angry because there is some, okay, you gotta be angry. Someone hits you or someone steals your money, fine, you gotta be angry. Be angry. It doesn't need to last long. It doesn't need to last 5 years. Like a lot of people are still carrying on hurts from 5 years ago. I'll be like, really? That was 5 years ago. So get over it, right? Let it go. Which means after you're done being angry, now you're going to be committed to make sure that you're now back trued up to your true self, which is all about happy, happy, joy, joy. It's all good. No problem. I got robbed. No big deal. I'm angry. I've dealt with it and now it's all good. So you let that go. How do you let that go? You choose, I'm done. I'm letting this go, which means you stop thinking about it. You start talking about it. You stop being a victim about it. You just stop all conversations about it. And the more and more you practice not paying attention to it, the less and less it impacts you and the less and less of a hook it has on you. And that's how you let go. It's
and that's a great
conscious choice.
That's a great way of putting it. And I'm going to give an example on myself. A few months ago when we had that, I was, bitching. And he eventually said, hey, Joanna, you might want to stop talking about it all the time. It's like, oh, and we may not be able to stop the thoughts right away, but we do have the choice to follow up on our thoughts. So my process was, I was angry about something because somebody did something, and I kept talking about it to Tien or somebody else. So even though the thought came in, I made the conscious choice and decision to drag it further, to talk about it and complain. That is what made the problem.
Yes.
So we may not stop our thoughts right away, but the process of choosing not to follow on our thoughts, which is bitching, complaining, yada, 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 eventually stops the thought from becoming, because it's kind of it doesn't get anywhere. It's almost like it's pointless. It doesn't get any feeding, so it kind of goes away.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And I think as a society, or at least in my experience, what I have experienced, we're very, not all of us, but many, we're wired to complain.
Mm-hmm.
And the complaining just feeds that negative part that we're trying to get rid of, but the complaining constantly keeps it alive.
Yes, exactly.
If we did this to something positive, if we put half of the energy that we spend on complaining about something that happened 5 years ago into something that's positive, oh my God, can you imagine?
Yeah.
But it's a habit.
It's a habit.
Okay.
A lot of these things are just habit. One of my favorite phrases in my other deck of cards, the Wise and Wise Ass Sayings of the Wizard, is, are you adding more anger, judgment, and fear, or are you bringing joy and light?
Mm-hmm.
So, in every single moment, we can choose what we talk about, because we can choose from there. Is what I'm going to talk about bringing more anger, judgment, and fear? Yes, it is. So, stop talking about it. Because you're just adding more to it, right? Gandhi himself said, right? Be the change you wish the world to be.
Right.
So if you're angry at something, if something has happened, are you going to choose to be angry and therefore feed more anger into the world? Or are you going to be okay about it? Are you going to accept it? Are you going to be able to let it go?
And with the whole process of manifesting and the state of being, when we continually feed into the anger, we keep staying angry, therefore we will attract accordingly.
Very good. And not just anger, everything. Poverty.
Everything else. Exactly.
Right? I've done spells like crazy about manifesting money, and I just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper into debt. Why? Because the missing was, I was coming from a place of fear and poverty. Mm-hmm. Right. So in my little spell kits, I tell people, do not only cast this spell when you are feeling better.
Good. Yeah.
Never cast it when you're feeling sad and poor and pathetic.
So let's talk about this example of manifesting abundance. Let's talk about manifesting money. People want to manifest money. They want to manifest great jobs. They want to do this, and that. And yet many people shortfall when it comes to, it just happen. Yeah. So what are they missing here? Let's just put it into some kind of a parameters? What's the biggest thing they're missing?
Well, it's a 3 or 4-fold practice to be able to manifest like a wizard. Number one, yes, you want to be clear about what is it that you're asking for. Yes. And even if you're not clear, it's okay. You bump around in an environment that helps you get clear.
Right.
Right. So if you did you wouldn't know you wanted a new job until your boss started treating you badly. And you'd be like, oh, okay, I want a new job. Right. Then you had a new desire for a new job. So good. So whatever it is, you've already told the universe, I want a new job. Great. And then most people, they will just go on and try to find that new job. Now, and then for some people it works and some people it doesn't. What is the difference? The difference is how they were feeling when they went about the next stage. And there's no truth about what the next stage is that you take. If you want to go and find a new job and that process is so enjoyable because you're just that kind of person, then it's great. Go do that. But if the process of doing that is not enjoyable, don't do it until you can get yourself to a place where it is enjoyable. What is missing for most people in the manifestation process is the joy phase.
It's the being.
It's the being phase. You have to feel good. And that has to go hand in hand with the ability to not have an attachment. And the biggest umbrella over all of that is to have faith. So you gotta trust it's all fine. Don't worry about it. Somebody bigger is looking after it. I don't care what people believe in. You can believe in God and Allah, the fairies in the universe and the Mother Earth or the aliens. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Just go find it. Right?
Exactly. Doesn't
find
matter
your
at the end. It doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah. I will remind my fundamentalist Christian family, when they get all weird and freaky about like, oh, you didn't do this. I'd be like, did you forget to have faith? And they'd be like, oh yeah, right. Right? And then it's all good, right? Oh yeah, right. Something is working. Okay, good. So you just find your faith, number one. When you have faith, now you can chill, you can relax, you can just sit back and go, okay, no problem. It's all good. And at any moment, right now, you have to choose to be happy.
Right.
That is the trick right there. Choosing to be happy takes practice. And that's how people are like, I had somebody ask me once, how do you get happy? I'd be like, oh my God, really? You don't know how to be happy? Like serious, some people don't know how to be happy. Here's how you be happy.
Problem.
Oh my God, yeah. Number one, you want to be so interested in being happy, and it's a choice, yes? Because you can be happy at any moment by choosing what you look at instead. So life is like a big window overlooking this huge grassy land. On one side, you got this big burnt grass. You got one side over here is a whole bunch of like broken things and ugly things. And over side, there's a bunch of beautiful mushrooms. And in the far, there's a beautiful mountain and there's clouds and there's a lovely patch of roses and flowers and there's a dead animal over there. And that's what's in front of you. That's life. Yes? And what do most people do? Boom! They're so short-sighted and they're so one-pointed view. They just go straight to the broken pile of glass and all the burnt ugly things. And then they go complain. And they'll call people and then they'll post about it. They'll take photos about it and they'll keep talking and talking and talking about it. And then they just don't get happy. So how do you get happy? You just turn your focus and you look, oh, look at that beautiful flower over there. Oh, look at the beautiful clouds over there. You start looking at things that make you happy. That's how you get happy. Do things that make you feel good. Talk about things that make you feel good.
And it doesn't, because I have conversation with some people that would say, well, does that mean you have to turn the blind eye on what's going on in the world? And my answer was, not at all. But if you constantly are glued to what makes you feel shitty, guess what? You're feeling that energy, and that feeling energy is coming back to you. So you don't feel good. There's a difference between being completely oblivious and feeding into that drama. There's a huge difference there. And unfortunately, I think many people are glued to drama. But when we look at TV, we look at news, out of 100 terrible things, we see one thing that's really good. Yeah. If it was the other way around, the world would be very different, but that's a different story. altogether.
We love to suffer. We give awards to people who suffer.
So, very interesting.
Right?
Oh, we're back.
How's the connection now? Yep,
now
I'm here.
Yeah,
okay.
We went out for a second. So if anybody wants to post another question, we'd be happy to take your call or your question. You can just post on a page there, wolfspiritradio.com. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the term modern wizard. You don't hear that very often. So what is it? What is a modern wizard? Who is a modern wizard?
Okay, yeah. Got it. Modern is simply now. We're not talking about Gandalf from, 3,000 years ago.
Right.
Or maybe 1,000 years ago. We're talking about right now, contemporary, right? So, a wizard is one who creates life from nothing.
Mm-hmm. Alchemist.
Most people create, there's nothing, and then you make something. Oh, now you just made something new. So you can create your life as a wizard, which means I want this. Boom, and then that happens. Now, we don't live in an instant time-space reality, thank God, right?
Right.
Because that would be chaos. Imagine if all our thoughts came true in the instant. Oh my God, right? That would be a scary world to manage.
Yes.
Oh, I can't imagine. I'd be like, oh my God, I need to go to the bathroom. Boom, suddenly I shit my pants. Because that was no space reality. So thank God for time-space reality, right?
That is
yeah.
Yes.
So
very true.
So the wizard can create from nothing. Most people live their lives coming from the past. And that is where it all gets all weird and screwy.
Right.
So there's coaching sessions, absolutely, with me and through other programs and things like that. But with me, I do amazing coaching to make sure that people are really present now and are not carrying on the stories from the past to bring that into the future. Unless you like this particular thing about your past, great, keep it going. Keep it going. Talking about it, keep celebrating it. But if you don't like this thing about your past, let's say you were abused and it was horrible or you fought the system or you were blah, 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 then you want to get that done. So you're not dragging that into the future. So most people drag all that stuff into the future and their lives are really, really not that awesome and not that fulfilling. And it's not magical. So wizardry is coming from nothing. So then one can create it like they are inventing something new to live into that would make life so fantastic.
And you literally do that every day. That's what you do.
I do. I'm clear and I've practiced long enough what I teach now. So every day is an intentional. And I live with a very high honor and a high level of self-love and integrity that I don't put up with that stuff. I don't put up with mediocrity. I don't put up with low standards. And so it keeps, my vibration raises all the time. And of course, once in a while, I'll feel like shit and,
Yeah, we're human. Yeah.
It's human. It's great. No worries. I just have fun enjoying being sad and pathetic and then, I'll enjoy that journey and then I'll be fine. So you don't need to deny it. But yes, being a wizard is something all of us have within us. It's what we all are innately. We are here to create awesome, fantastic experiences in life. And then most of us have gotten to a habit so that they now have forgotten how to do that.
Right. And is it interesting how many people, and whether it's majority, I don't know, but many people will have a tendency to cling to the past with things that are not good versus things that are good. Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And we get stuck in the bad things, but we rarely get stuck in the good things.
Yeah.
And do you think it's just the way we are? Do you think it's just the way we're conditioned? I mean, clearly we're bombarded around with stuff that doesn't feel good. So it's a habit.
It's a habit. It's not nature.
Yeah.
It's not nature. Our nature is to have an awesome time. Like
and
I said,
nature, and nature, exactly. And nature, by the very aspect of what it is, it always strives for balance. Right? And
Yes.
I think many of us are very lopsided. You said something, very important. You said, we've said it a few times, the word clarity. And one of the things that you've helped me get clear on is to be clear on what it is that I want and what it is that I don't want. Because, I'll let you continue, but unless we are clear on what we don't want, we're always kind of stuck in this no man's land, right?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
And what I'll also add is, certainly in my case, there's been a lot of guilt of things that I wanted, but I felt I shouldn't. So there's a lot of stuff that comes in. So maybe just talk about how, the universe doesn't have any morals. I don't know if morals is the right word, but the universe doesn't care if you ask for lots of money or not. The universe actually doesn't care, because its job is to provide. What's that?
Yeah, I love it that you said that. The universe doesn't care because the universe is infinite. It's there. Whether you have an awesome life or not, the universe is fine because it doesn't make it mean anything.
Right.
It's like, oh, your life is your life, fine, that's whatever. That's why when people are really flaky in some ways, right? And not being at the source of creating their own lives powerfully and saying, oh, just wait for the universe, oh, it's not time, la 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 la.
Right.
Nothing happens because the universe doesn't care. But the moment you get off your butt and you jump and you say, yeah, let's go do that, whoosh, the universe comes.
Right.
Right? It will support you like crazy. So absolutely, like being clear about what you don't want is so crucially more important than what you want. Because when you're clear about what you don't want, then you gotta ask. You gotta say, yeah, I don't want that. And you gotta say no. You gotta say no a lot of times.
Right.
Because when you're saying no, you are saying, no, I will not put up with this kind of treatment. No, I deserve to be treated a lot better. And then you gotta speak your truth.
And that's the other component. And that's the other component, that we may want things and we may be clear on what we want, but then we end up saying yes to the things we don't want as a habit or as a source of some other unresolved stuff from the past. Yeah. So we're stopping ourselves in the process again.
Very good. A really great example around it's fear, right? It's the inability to trust, which is what fear is. And so for example, someone wants a certain kind of client. Yeah, so we've all done this as entrepreneurs. We want a certain breed of client. And then because we're scared that we're not going to make enough money, so-and-so comes up and you know that is not your kind of client, but you compromise. You sell out on yourself. You sell out on your honor and you say yes to that job.
Right.
So when you're willing to trust and say no, then you focus only on the kind of client that you want. Those start to come. Because now you've closed the door to the ones you don't want.
And I have personally experienced that, not only in what I do, but also a few years ago when I clearly communicated to the universe that the job that I was doing, where I was working, I was done. And I knew it was just a matter of time until it was physical. I knew, I just knew I had that trust. Now, people who don't have faith, and I'm sure there are some people who've lost faith because they're trying and trying and trying. What would you say to those people when they say, but how do I get my faith? Good
question. Remember, I was born fundamentalist Christian. So I spent years trying to work in that faith and I couldn't find the rapturous place that a lot of my people did, right? And so, but I found this amazing faith now. I don't even know what it is, but it's like a faith in an all goodness, all universal something. So really can start very simply. We can take the mysticism of faith, right? So people who have lost faith, you can simply get as simple as faith is knowing that when you step one foot in front of the other, you will always walk on the ground. You will not suddenly be flying in the sky.
Right. It's like breathing.
Exactly.
Right?
Faith is knowing, and you just practice that. The basic. You know, faith is knowing that gravity is there. If you drop a glass, it will probably break on the floor.
Right.
So that is faith, because you know when you go to sleep, it's okay. Most of the time you will not die, and you will die, and it will probably just happen once. For the rest of the time that you go to sleep, you will wake up the next day and you will be awake. You know when you take a breath, there is air. Right? You can trust that your organs are working. You know, like, that when you swallow, it isn't gonna automatically come out of your mouth or come straight out of your bum. You know that there is a system, there's a mechanism, and you can have faith. You know you have faith when you cut your hand, you will probably bleed. That's faith, because you know it's gonna go a certain way. So people who have lost faith, just practice that. Just start being conscious of the things that we take for granted, and just go, wow, I knew that there was going to be water when I turned on the tap. Things like that.
And it is practicing with little things, right? We're not asking people to jump off the bridge and see if you can fly. Bad idea.
No, bad idea. And don't go doing the faith thing around, I trust the universe and all that. If it doesn't it doesn't feel like it's right, don't bother doing that.
That's right.
Just start with your basic things now.
Right. Even if you believe in energy, even if you believe in whatever you are and whatever makes you walk around, whatever that is for you, whatever it is, just the concept of belief. Because the universe doesn't give a crap what you believe in. Honestly, it doesn't.
No, it's all energy. It's the feeling. It doesn't matter what your object of belief or subject of belief is. It's the feeling state. The feeling state is universal. Well, not universal because I don't know about the aliens, but it's planetary. Which means if you have faith, you have peace. It's all good. No problem. Yeah, it's all good. No problem. And that's the energy place we want to get to.
And when you have peace inside, it's a heck of a lot easier to let go of things when you're peaceful. A lot easier.
Peace is letting go.
That's right. Very good. Yeah. Very good. I just wanted to mention very quickly, because we have a couple of minutes. Tien does his Wizard Wednesdays every Wednesday, I believe at 7:00 Pacific Standard Time. And his Facebook is Tien Neo Ima. So that's TIEN NEOEAMAS. I believe you're on for half an hour? 30 minutes?
An hour, not 45 minutes now.
45 minutes where people can actually tune into you live and post questions, and you will address people individually. So what's that? No questions?
No questions. No, I will talk, I will share,
gotcha.
And then I will guided readings for people.
Guided readings. Okay, perfect. So you can catch him there, and his website is also listed on our website. Thank you so much for joining me, Tien. Just look him up on Facebook, and you can go to his website from there if you want someone to coach you, or if you want someone who would benefit from Tien. He truly is a remarkable human being, and his story is a remarkable story, and he is who he is because of his story. Not that he is his story, but he certainly gained wisdom through going through his path. So incredible man. He is in my life, and I feel very lucky. And if you want to look at his jewelry, he will do that for you too. Thank you, Tien, so much. Love you to pieces, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Good night. Bye.